Follow that, as they say. Michelle, I'm not too late, am I? So originally when I auditioned for Coronation Street, it was for a small part, a visiting artist, for 4 episodes. I was actually a singer. Michelle first joined the show as a singer, if people remember that, and auditioned for Vernon's band, so I had to sing in my audition as well, which is a bit weird. So the fact that I then ended up here for 14 years is quite astonishing.
Strap yourself in. This ought to be good.
You, Michelle, are a red-hot mama with a body that just won't quit.
Over the years, she's had a fair share of heartbreak. She's had a fair share of good times as well, I suppose. Mostly heartbreak, I think. There's been a few kisses and stuff along the way. Her first one being Sonny. He was actually the guy that kept her and Steve from being together. It was always kind of will they, won't they, almost like a Ross and Rachel friends type situation. There's always unfinished business between them. I loved their relationship because there was a lot of comedy. There were serious times as well, but there was a lot of comedy, and we loved working together. We had a good on and off screen relationship, and Simon is somebody that I would always consider a really good friend of mine. I had Luke, who was the factory owner, was he, for a while? We had Kieran, who was obviously played by lovely Keith Duffy. Let's not forget Jake the Builder, who she ended up bearing all to. So she had a little brief fling with Peter, which has been forgotten about somewhere down the line. I feel like Carla and Michelle have shared a lot of men over the years. I think that's something that's happened. She was with both my brothers at one point as well. So we had a little kiss with Nick, which was all to get back at Leanne, because it was after she found out that Steve had fathered Oliver. And of course you got Will, who was Shell's friend from school. Of course he turned into a full-blown stalker, and Steve saved the day. So I feel like Robert had all the promise of being, you know, replacing Steve in terms of the love of her life situation, but he had a lot of skeletons in his closet, and he was very sneaky and told her a lot of lies, and the ultimate lie being what we've just seen. I think Steve, to be honest, will always be the love of Michelle's life. Doesn't matter who came and went before or after. Whilst he was always a bit of an idiot, he was her idiot. Yeah, the Connors, I mean, it all began with, I guess we can almost say it began with those first 4 episodes, where the Connors started out was with me and the 2 boys, Liam and Paul, played by Rob and Sean. And they brought in Ben Thompson, who played Ryan originally, and then adding Alison King as Carla. Which was just a genius idea, because she just, you know, she was a great character to bring in. I remember being with her on her screen test day, and it was just hysterical because she threw water all over herself by accident. And she's always doing things like that, but it was quite funny. And we hit it off straight away. And then obviously they brought in the cousins in Johnny and Kate and Aidan. And we've seen some really important storylines obviously being told with them. What I love about Ryan, who plays Ryan, is that he's brought a different dynamic whilst playing that character. Obviously the writers have written him beautifully, but I think for me Ryan has brought his own stamp to that role, really. And obviously James Burrows is a beautiful actor, and you know, and he's made Ali very interesting. So there's a lot of darkness to that character. What I love is that I'm leaving the show knowing that the Connors are kind of still going strong, and I look forward to watching it as a viewer to see where they go. I've been very lucky, very fortunate to have been a part of many brilliant storylines over the years. To name them all would be impossible. But I think if I had to choose one in particular that was Michelle's story, it would be the loss of Rory. I felt that if we told that story knowing how much impact soaps have, it's almost like we have the ability to be able to educate people on things that they don't know they're being educated on, just because we're classed as entertainment, but we're bringing important issues into people's living rooms, you know, night after night. So obviously the leaving storyline has been eventful, dramatic. On paper we were kind of like, oh my goodness, is this gonna work? How are we gonna make this work? You know, I've been getting a lot of people on social media contacting and saying, oh, I wonder what this is, I wonder if it's this, I wonder if it's this, and nobody really knowing properly what's going on. But we always knew that when she found out, you know, it was not going to end well for him. So I'm glad that she got a bit of revenge. I'm sad for the way Robert, for the way that story ended, obviously. But also quite interested to see if my character does return, what the fallout of all of that would have been for her, because I don't get the feeling that that's the end for her. And certainly I don't think it's the end for her and Vicky. I think Michelle, it could be like anyone you lived next door to. I always loved her because I didn't think she was any particular one thing. She wasn't the bitch, although she could be one. She wasn't nasty, although she could be nasty. She wasn't the clown, but yet she could be. You know, I liked the fact that she was kind of a good mixture of things. Yeah, she might get on my nerves a little bit sometimes, but I think she'd be a good person to have in your life because she'd always have you back. She's fiercely loyal. You know, I think that's the one great thing about her, is that there is a loyalty, and she doesn't like people that are disloyal, and that's not a bad trait to have. Decision to leave was a tough one, you know, being here for such a long time and realising how lucky I am to privileged I am to have been a part of this show. I've learnt so much along the way, being here. I'm not a trained actress, I never went to drama school, but so everything I've learnt over the last 13 years, I've learnt by being here, and learnt from some amazing actors who've taught me things, even when they don't realise they have, and inspired me. And I'm absolutely delighted that they have left the door open for my character to come back. It would have been quite sad to think that she was gone forever, because she is a great character, and I am going to miss playing her. So one day, hopefully, I shall return. I've had the most wonderful 13 and a half years on Coronation Street. I've been very, very fortunate to be involved in some wonderful storylines. I've had lots and lots of support from you guys, and I'm really going to miss it, and I hope that you will all miss Michelle, but she will be back.